Well, hello again. Once more, welcome back to another thrilling episode of Farmland Flats. I've been doing a little bit more detailing work just in the background, basically just letting the game run. Building up a bit of revenue in-game, letting a bit of demand ferment as we head forward. So, let's have a little look and then work out what we're going to spend a bit of time today doing. So, first one's just sort of back a bit there. Tarted up the junctions a little bit, a few extra lines added in, so things are going in and out. I noticed all the lovely plant work I put down the front of the industrial area. It all looked like that, how lovely it looked. Yeah, somewhat predictably it's all dying. There we go, anyway. Main fire station in, we've done a sort of little bit around the end there. The road's gained its double yellows, the junction's sorted out. Had some nice props. Fire engine has a prop, quite like that. A bit more still to do around the end there. We're up to 70,000 revenue. Population's 10,000 and growing very slowly. We do have a little bit of commercial demand, and what's happened with that, if we come all the way down here towards where eventually the town centre will be, some of the area I allocated for commercial has grown in. Some looking better than others, it must be said, but there we go. We have a little bit more that's grown in here, which tells me I've probably got a mistake somewhere because they don't really look very good. Those ones there are really need to be part of that. So I'm going to do that around there. That'll see those immediately despawn, which I'm fine with. I'm going to hit pause. There is actually some stuff I want to put here. This is going to be commercial. It's going to be low density or high density. What I need to do is drop some stuff down and then make sure it's either in this zone or perhaps slightly more easily take the zoning, the district at least, off that bit. Again, I don't want it to go right to the end there. I'm going to leave it as that, and then we're going to have a little look. I want to go in here. That one, UK, that one, UK. What I'm after, there are some buildings I grabbed. They're obviously not entitled UK, workshop or something. Yeah, I'm just going to have a look. There are some buildings I grabbed which are... they look like industrial units, but they're not. They're sort of... some of these don't want to show up particularly well. Never mind. They look like industrial units, but actually they're commercial. Which is quite nice, because what it means is you can have things like garages, car workshops, that sort of thing, and just drop them in, and they work. I thought I'd grabbed some. I just need to have a little look and see whether I have or not. It's possible they're high density. Yeah, let's try the high density ones. Not this sort of building. I will have a use for those. A proper hotel. That's quite a nice one. Yeah, see, some of this stuff, it's in as... I'm deciding it's not going to show when I hover over it. It's in as high density, which... a little bit odd. But we shall see. There's all the content creator stuff over there, which is rather nice. It would appear I've not got them. I thought I had... Oh, well, never mind. What I'm going to do, in that case, for now at least, is just drop in. We've got some commercials here, and what I want to do is put... frustrating. I haven't got the stuff I actually want. I'm actually going to leave that empty as a result, and let some of the stuff over here grow in. Yes, slightly annoying. But anyway, we've got more demand. So All of this area here is growing in quite nicely. The parks are growing in nicely. Just check on land value. So yeah, it's traffic rather. Yeah, land value like I actually wanted to. Coming up quite nicely around here. This area here less so. It's on the outskirts, so what I need to do is I'm going to leave this running while I do it. I'm going to add in some of these roads here. This little bit here is going to be some commercial. This is going to go down to another area. Now this, in the actual town this is based on, is a dual carriageway for some reason. And it's actually a proper dual carriageway. It's not one of those. It's got a central median and everything in it. So let's have a little look, see if we can find some suitable sized ones in here that might work. Have I got? Yeah, it's going to have to be one of these. I think it's going to be one of those. Oh, that has upgraded quite nicely to like a UK-ish style. It does need the parking taking off. That, you see, that just looks wrong. And I don't want to go in and just... That one? No, still got it. I want... That's better. The central bit's not perfect, but it will do. Right. This is then going to carry on straight for a little bit, and then over here there's going to be some more retail bits and pieces. This one here is a normal road. And this one, it'll get parking on bits of it, but not all of it. So I can go in and I can change bits of that. And that also carries on like that. And this gives a nice area in the middle. The roundabout needs some decoration. Yeah, the actual one's got subways and all sorts of other bits and pieces in. And by subways I mean things that go underneath. I don't mean it's got a subway on it, if that makes sense. So that's definitely a roundabout road. That'll work. Right, over here, what are we going to do here? I'm going to put another little supermarket in here. It's going to be a little one. There'll be a bigger one over there, and I'm going to do some other bits. So let's have a little look. What have we got that we can use? One of these, I think, will do nicely. That's going to come off there like that. Do I do that? Yeah, I think I'll do that. That one looks a little bit better. Right, I need in here... There. A car park. Hopefully there is enough space, and there's space to do it with a bit either side, which I quite like. See, let me get rid of that. I've got another idea. What I'm going to do is draw a road out the middle. I'm going to put two of those car parks in. I want to see how well they fit. That side's alright. That side, it will fit, but what I need to do is get rid of that, go back into the road. I need to go a little bit further along. Like that, and then that, and now we'll see whether this fits in better here. It's very, very fractionally further. Right, what I need to do is mark that there. So I know I need to be just slightly further along than that. I'm going to go a little bit further still, like that. Now that, and now the car. Now I should be able to fit the two car parks I want in. Which is going to be there and there. There's a little bit of spare space there, which I'm quite happy with. Drop out of that. Right. Now they're obviously moaning about not having power. That's fine. And the one thing I do want to do, however, is get hold of that, make this brush a little bit bigger. I'm going to grab that. And make this bit of terrain here like so. Yeah, I can soften that detailing at the edge. I'm not too bothered by that. I'm going to go into there. I'm going to do that. Grab me some nodes. I want to grab all of that, and I want to set that to terrain height. And the reason for doing that is fairly straightforward, basically. I'd quite like the car parks to be level, if that makes sense. I'm not going to be able to get it level at that side by the look of that. Yeah, well. Maybe go a little bit larger and just it softens so that one is on a little bit of a slope. Go back again, just that node, do terrain height, let that dip down. Okay, fine, so that now looks a little bit better than it did. And what we now need to do is find a suitable supermarket. Now, what's actually here in the real world is a Lidl. I don't have a Lidl, so I'm going to put an Aldi in instead. This is obviously going to need the obligatory water service. It's going to come down there like that and like that. Power is going to have to be done with wires to start with. Just one of those things I'm going to have to do with wires to start with. So I'm going to bring that to there, bring that across there. Eventually, obviously, that'll all jump and that'll deal. That will deal with a lot of the commercial demand, I suspect. Just purely because that's high density. Then around here we're going to put some more bits and pieces. That needs to curve around, and then there's other bits and pieces I'll go off in that area there. This now looks a little bit odd, so what I need to do is, do we have... Yeah, see, this style doesn't seem to have a roundabout road, which is a little bit annoying. But if you've seen UK roads, tarmac changing colour fairly regularly is not that uncommon. See, there's lorries delivering to these here, which is a bit of a problem. Sometimes I wish they'd just carry on, so to speak. Yeah, that's too big. So I was just looking at, do I take the end pieces of that off? I've still got a little bit more commercial demand, which is quite good, because what I'm going to do is do a little bit more of this here. I'm going to take that road from that road. This road here is going to come round, and all this area in here is going to be commercial as well, with side roads coming off, but probably quite small ones. What I'm going to do is bring a side road in here, like that. This is all just going to eventually allow me to just do some more zoning and stuff in the middle here, like this. This edge here, let's just put in... Yeah, I'm actually just going to put in some high density in, and I'm going to see what we get. Not on that very end strip there, however. Yeah, let's just leave that, see what we get. This bit here I can tart up a little bit. This bit here can have something else fitted in. Let's have a little look. Do I have a plumbing centre? Yeah, it doesn't really fit. Yes, this is all industrial stuff here. I don't really want it to be industry. I mean, I could put it as industry. I think we've got nice big Morrisons, which I don't particularly need at the moment. I'll let some more of that grow in. This whole area here, yeah, just needs a bit playing with. What I'm going to do is put a path there, which I think will help. I'm also going to put a path there because I think that looks quite nice. And then all of this needs detailing, which I shall come back to. Right, again, more housing. So here, this area here is going to be more housing. It's going to be in Croxmore Green. It's going to be the same style of housing as that, but it's going to be its own thing, if that makes sense. So I'm going to come along here like this. Like so. What sort of style is this? Let's have a little look. It isn't a style. That might explain a few things. I'm going to make that into my terrace style and see what happens with that. Oh look, lots and lots of houses are now disappearing. However, the houses that are disappearing are the ones that probably shouldn't have been there in the first place. So what I actually need to do is go UK Tur 1, find my little brick terraced house that I use for this sort of thing. Not that one. For some reason all the little previews aren't showing up. I suppose there probably is a reason. Let's go in 1 by 2 and see if this lets me find it. That one? Nope. There's lots of people moving out now, which is slightly upsetting, but there we go. Okay. That one. I'm just going to grab that and start. Just start dropping a lot of these in everyone that disappears. See, I did put some space in there for some more commercial as well. That's now disappeared because that's not sort of the ones that were there were not theme appropriate. There are some theme appropriate ones, which I shall do once I've finished dealing with this. I'm just trying to. What I'm trying to do is avoid what's happened there, which is some of the larger multi-part houses growing in. Because some of them look quite nice, some of them won't suit the slope terrain particularly well. Ding, 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 ding. Come down here. There's a few more. Yeah, I've noticed this a few occasions. Sometimes some of the zones don't stick. Some of them change and some just vanish. Like that bit of weird zoning there in the middle that's decided to creep in by itself. It just changes sometimes. It's just something you have to keep an eye on. Yeah, that one there's decided it's going to grow, which is fine. I'll put these in and hopefully a lot of these will level up. In that end, so there we go. Nothing's ever simple. Right, okay, what do we, before I come back up to that cat and green area, what do we got over here? Shop till you drop centre, that sounds right. Yeah. Weirdly that does look vaguely appropriate for that part of the town. Right, cat and green. So over here I need to come in, I need to put in some more side roads. Again, I'm going to use one of these little, these weird little lanes to start with. This is again really all about stopping unwanted traffic. Now, if you've been in UK cities, you'll know there's an awful lot of places like this where you get a road that looks like it. Well, you think, well, why didn't that join onto there? Yes, it did. At some point in the dim and distant past, it will have done. I don't particularly want. And you see, again, I'm trying to avoid crossroads. They're not fatal. I just don't like them. It's simple as that. That almost might have to be. Let's do it like that. That'll do. Right. Zone. Yeah, go a little bit further. So I shall come over here. We'll do one more like that. There we are. This here should give me more housing. We'll do the obligatory water pipes, and even though that's not a road, again, in the unlikely event anyone who actually knows how to play this game is watching, so I've noticed I don't have a very high viewership on these videos, shall we say. That's the polite way of putting the fact that nobody watches these things. Which is fine. I'm doing this because I enjoy it. If nobody wants to watch, that's entirely up to them. So that's cat and green. This house, yes, it's a little bit. Again, it's not particularly level, so I need to come into here. I am going to pick the terrace style again. Basically because I know, well, again, we hit the area of the town this actually is. See, that's gonna spawn in as a big row, which I don't necessarily want. I might put some more higher density in at the back here. I've got an estate there. I might put a bit more at the back, or just the odd one or two, like a little bit was levelled and became slightly high. In fact, you know what? I'm going to do that. I'm going to do exactly that. I'm going to say, yes, on it. This little bit here used to be part of all of this, but is now a high density area. So I've got housing demand. So I have right, Walworth. Have I got? Did I do a UK high density? I do have a high density estate feel. However, what I'm actually going to do is see what other high density stuff I've got available. Or do we just let stuff grow? Actually, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to do something a little bit different here. I'm going to go with the Brooklyn and Queens high density with smaller buildings. I'm just going to see what comes in. Why not? Yeah. Actually, not like that. Let's go that. Yeah, let's just see what grows in. You never know. It might be nice. It might not. It might be horrible. Yeah, anyway, so that's that. I'm now going to go to that bit. Yeah, so we'll let that grow. The beauty again of that is with a little bit of luck. Yeah, Victorian terrace, don't really want that. I want UK brick terrace level 1. Yeah, we'll see what we get. That will do some of the sort of housing zone demand stuff. It's got reasonable walkability, so we'll have a look. I've seen these aren't styles I've used before. I've had them for a little while, not for very long, and I've never used them, so I'm actually quite curious to see what they look like. I've seen a few other videos. Biffa's done some, Egg's done loads. City Planner Plays, as obviously he's done a fair few things like this as well. Using them to get some rather nice row housing, which I like the look of. I'm just curious to see what we get. These are going to be turned into the usual low density terrace. As it says low density, this is actually a way of getting quite a lot of people into a fairly small area. I mean, each one of these, yeah, it's only a single household, but it's 2 squares. Let's have a quick drink. Back with the Aldi Diet Coke. And I'm just curious to see what we get. So here we are, a little bit of an estate. It's, again, one of these, this is the local estate. So, quite conveniently, it's got a police station nearby. We don't even medical cover around here. There is going to be a hospital. I'm going to put a big hospital over here somewhere. I need to unlock another area for that. Probably do with a couple more little medical centres knocking about. What have we got in content creator for medical centres? Have we got medical lab? What I'm after is small medical centres like that. That has a very small radius it affects. But actually, I think will work quite nicely there, very specifically. And this one here is actually really rather nice. This is the Colliery Medical Centre, which is just a very brutal looking building. So that's that. What do I think of these that have come in? I don't object to those. No, I think they're not. I quite like that one. It looks like corner pieces to it. Yeah. I'm not objecting to those. This area will need some parking, however, because the road around here is not going to be able to cope. Now, I've left a bit of space between some of these buildings, and what I'm actually going to do is drop in a couple of car parks. And then here, I'll put road guidelines back on, because for once I actually want to be in the centre, like that. And then the same there. Just for the look of the thing, really. Just put a few more pathways in. I quite like that. I mean, these will hold a fair chunk of people, which should soak up a decent amount of housing demand. What I actually want to also do, and I'm going to check my UK terrace style here. Just check that is what's in there. UK terrace, right. So what I want to do is I want to go in and just make sure... Who's moaning? Somebody's moaning. Let's find out where somebody's moaning. I suspect it's probably down here with the farm. Yes, not enough buyers for goods. Well, that's... yeah. I'm not bothered about that at the moment. Right, so what I want to do is my UK style, which is back over here, which is UK terraced housing. I now want to look into none of that, just that. UK. See, because I put a pub in because I wanted a pub. What I actually also want is the list not to jump. That'd be quite nice. I'd really like the list not to jump. Terrace shop, which is a Subway. These wall-to-wall shops. I'm not quite sure how they work. They look like they need something going under them, but I'm not entirely sure. Open to suggestions on that one. So get out of that. What I want is size 1. See, this is going to give me a few other little bits and pieces. American takeaway, American nails. What I'm after is small shops that look like they belong in a row of terraced houses. Yes, various other generic retail, generic shop, terrace shop, newsagents, Subway, bargain booze. Yeah, wouldn't be the UK without a Greggs, Lloyd's Pharmacy, post offices. Really nice if that sort of post office actually functioned as a post office. That'd be quite nice. I'm not going to bother too much about that. Right. We don't have any more commercial at the moment because basically I've just eaten all of the commercial demand stone dead with various other bits and pieces. So what I'm then going to do is carry on with housing. Grab one of those. I'm just going to bookend that, and the reason for that is that sort of very nicely reserves that bit of space. We're going to need a school. Now, again, if you're familiar with this part of the world, firstly, my commiserations. Nah, I don't mean that. It's actually quite nice around here. It's yeah. We have some wonderful historic burnt-out cars, and no, again, I'm joking. Barnsley's lovely. I like Barnsley. I've lived here for a number of years. I have family from this part of the world, and it is quite nice. It's a nice place, part of the world. People say hello. People are friendly most of the time. Now, we do eat outsiders, it has to be said. Yeah, if you come to this part of the world and you're not from Yorkshire, oh, woe betide. Yeah, anyway, never mind. Nah, I'm kidding. It's a lovely part of the world. It's a part of the world where you can own a house without selling your soul, which is quite nice. Sometimes you do see house prices. I mean, I saw a sign, and this was many years ago, for one-bed apartments that were going up. And actually, another little estate, sort of thing that's going to be over here. One-bed apartments were going up, and it said from something like £90,000. And you sort of look at that and you're thinking, okay, that's quite expensive, especially for the UK. And it's like, yes, from £90,000. Then you saw the little sign that said that was based on shared ownership. So £90,000, and you're not actually going to own it, which I just thought was crazy. Oh, that one's upgrading. We shall see what these. We shall see what these turn into. I'm just going to let them run. Quite frankly, the lake residents. See, I'm liking that. That's nice. Yeah, I mean, I've left a little bit more space because I've got some other bits and pieces to do. Right, school. Now this is going to be over here. Trying to think where I'm going to put the road off. I'm going to put the road off that way. Oh, something's on fire. Oh dear. Well, we've got a big fire station, so hopefully that won't be too bad. Yeah. Help. It's on fire. Never mind. Right. We're going to come off here. This is just going to be another mass of housing over here. But this corner here is going to be a school. Do hope that doesn't spread. Anyway, so let's go back into education. Don't really need another high school, do I? The village primary. See, the thing is, the village primary is actually sort of the school I want in terms of looks. What's needed is a sort of like a traditional Victorian-style British school. So I am going to take a little break. I'm going to visit the workshop, and I'm going to have a look, see if we can find an appropriate school. I will be back shortly. Thank you very much. Okay, I'm back. Start everything running again. I couldn't find the school I was after. What I'm looking for is a sort of Victorian style school that just sort of sits there. This is not really going to work that way around, is it? Because of the land. So let me just come into here, smooth land a little bit. What I'm going to do is pick that and just do something like that. Demolish that and then rebuild that road with that one there to there. I'm just going to make some space for a school. It's quite a large school. The sort of schools I was after is it's a very typical Victorian type school. I mean, this is based on one in Sweden, apparently. A very typically Victorian type of school that you see a lot of in the UK in more northern towns. And brick built, classrooms, yada yada yada. That needs some playground putting out the back. That can... I'll learn to press the right button at some point. That can be on a bit more of a slope. So I'm going to do that there. I am going to lower some more of that in a minute. Just back to that. I'm just going to do that around there, and then I'm going to go back in and smooth it again. Basically, I'm just trying to get rid of that from being right alongside the school a little bit. I don't mind. Yeah, so that's given me a big school for this area here. Should. Yeah, it'll take a few hundred students. It's not a massive number, actually. It's a large building that's not actually going to take very many students. I've got plenty of elementary school capacity, though, so I'm not too bothered. High school, we're still doing all right with, even though there's, I think there's two. There's that, yeah. There's those two there. So yeah, this should cope. The other thing I found is what I wanted for down here. So I'm going to this, and here we have the newer buildings are dropped in. So what I'm going to do is say I just want the commercial ones, and what we've got is things like car repair garages, which is what I was actually after. So I want an industrial shop. That's a little bit smaller, but not quite what I'm after. What's that? Oh, that's the Seven Stars pub. Don't want the Seven Stars pub. Ooh, McDonald's. I'll have to deal with that at some point. So I'm going to put that there. And then there's whatever that is a little auto repair shop. Which I'll save for somewhere else nearby. What I'm going to do, because obviously car repair place tends to come with that, and then I'm going to I'll leave that little bit there for a smallish. Actually, while I'm here, what have we got? Tiny park, sidewalk cafe. That actually fits, so that's going there. I just like what it looks like. So there we are. There's some old houses got demolished, and that got built in its place. And this little bit here is going to get a bit of decoration added. Yeah, there we go. So I've got a big school there. This corner bit, this is all going to be made to look like part of the school. So actually, what I'm going to do is do a little bit of that now, because once I've done it, it's done. So let's do a little bit of detailing around here just quickly. There to go to up there, I think. How's that looking? I might need to change how I've done that fence a little there. I can even select the thing. I had this before with a fence. Tried to get it in the wrong place. I was trying to get rid of it, and for the life of me, I couldn't select the thing. All I could ever select was the road next to it, which I don't really want to do. Oh, never mind. Right, I'll do that way. That is then going to go up here. Yeah, most modern British schools have, in the interests of safety and security, have adopted the air of looking something like a fortress in terms of the fencing and the walls that they have around them now. There we go. So yeah, that's going to be the school area, and over here is going to be a bit more housing. I really do like what that's come out like. To the point, I'm actually going to put a little bit more of it here. I'm going to put a bit more of it here, and then we'll go back to the more normal style a bit further down. Is I think how we're going to do this. And button. Let me just turn all of that back on. And that's going to come down to there. There's going to be more car workshop stuff done down this side. I'm going to do that. Just to break it up a little bit. And then we're going to do a few... Do that one coming off there. That's going to go into there. This bit here I'm going to turn into this sort of the... this higher density stuff again. As if this area here was reasonably recently reclaimed, shall we say, for do that. And then down here I can put in a little bit more. I don't want to go too far down here with this. No, do that. That works. The reason I want to go too far down here is, as I say, I'm going to put a supermarket and things over here. So, yes, that's why I don't want to go too far with that. That can go there. Yes, I'm aware that's not fully under the road. Bite me, quite frankly. Right, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to create another little area here. I'm going to do that. That is going to get the Brooklyn and Queens stuff done as well again, because that really is quite nice. I'm really liking that. So that's that, and then what we're going to do is come in again with the high density, and again I'm going to just do a couple of blocks. I mean, yeah, I'm going to come back in and fill the rest in as well. Do some of that. Do some of that. Do some alternating ones. I can put pathways around the back. And again, at some point, I'll have to put some other bits and pieces in there. That should absorb a lot of my housing need. Yes, as they'll start to grow in. Let's put a few more paths in, because paths are good. We like paths. They really do. I mean, pathways really are actually quite important in this, as they do help. What I'm going to do is I'm going to have a footbridge over here. Basically, again, because in the real thing, there is one. So that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to come in there, kill the road guidelines, because I want to do it properly. I'm going to go from there. 1, 2, 3, 4, because that's the sort of height I quite like. That is then going to go to there as a home. And also there as home, like that. And the one thing to note is it doesn't come down here. This actual area becomes a whole no pedestrians bit. Home to there, and then I'll go back to the normal start path. Just to bring it in there, like that. So again, this is really all about just letting people get where they want to go. Helping them. Don't hinder people's progress. Make it very easy for them to walk instead of drive, and people will walk instead of drive. Okay, while that grows, what I'm going to do is have a little look at the traffic situation. 55. Yes, that's not very good, is it? We have a huge queue of people trying to get in. I suspect a lot of these people are trying to move in. These are suffering because these are giveaways. That's lights. That bit there's all busy. Coming down here. This is probably a lot of these are people trying to move in. And this roundabout. How is this roundabout set up? It is now set up better than it was. With a bit of luck, that should help things move around. Yeah, lots of pedestrians running around. This may actually need the subways the real thing's got. 56. See, it's improved already. Oh dear, never mind. Yeah, down here is a little bit busy. This side of the map I'm not that bothered about. Over here we have a huge queue caused by people trying to move in and buses getting in the way. Right, let's do a little bit of traffic managery type stuff. What I want to do, since these are nominally through roads and are give ways, is I want to make sure the traffic coming down the main road doesn't get held up. I may have to put some lights in on some of these. That'll do for that. Again, you see with the lovely little tail lights mod. It's a simple little modification. It's very clever though. What he's done is he's just added a glowing red cube where the lights are at the back. But it works really, really well. I like it. 59. So yeah, the bits of this are starting to clear up. This is just because it's a roundabout, and roundabout behaviour is a bit. It's a bit busy. People are coming off. We've got the turn off lane. Still got a closed lane down here, but that's fine. There's no traffic going that way really. Yeah, these roads. I mean this one's got lights, so people can get out this way. This one hasn't, and I probably want to keep it that way, to be honest, just because I mean, yes, it's blocking people getting in and out, but there we go. This way, traffic's moving quite nicely. As you see, it's all pulling over because it's avoiding the turn-off lanes. Now we come down here, and yeah, it's improving. It's flowing. That's just basically the peak time traffic. Down here, oh, the farm's upgraded again, so there's more stuff I can do with the farm. Here, you know what? Having driven in this part of the town, this behaviour is absolutely spot on. Yeah, so I'm just going to leave that as it is, I think. Right, when we finish that, let's go and have a little look and see what we've got to grow in here. Now, in practice, what we've actually got in this area is sort of Victorian-y type fake houses. Yeah, very, very fake houses. But there we are. So that's going to put all of the traffic in and out of here is on this road, which is not ideal. I'm not going to lie, that's not ideal. This traffic here is not brilliant. I'm going to change that roundabout into a 3-lane one, but it's a 3-lane slow-moving one because this is the town centre. So let's do that. That should help. Check the road behaviours are still correct. So shift click that. That still works. Good. Right, that should help. And what I'm thinking then of doing is turning this bit here into a bit of an asymmetric coming in. That one's probably not a bad bet for there, actually. Is allow parking on one side but not the other. Keep doing it that way. Yeah, there we are. We'll just put that road in. It's a slightly different style to that road and the other ones in the area, but it matches what's going off on that side, so I'm not too bothered. And yes, so you see, this sort of traffic will stop behaviour is a bit annoying, but is what it is at the end of the day. How are we doing? 65. See, again, it's busy, but it's flowing. It's not causing. I'm going to ignore that temporarily. Yes. This bit here, I do actually have. When I go into highway, that is the single lane highway slip road. That is the twin lane version, which I'm actually going to put there. Then what I've got to do is go in obviously with yeah, see what I've now got is a lot of right. Stop. What I'm going to do is move that out of the way so I can get at these bits here. And do that, and then come over here. And just do that. Now I can get at that and straighten it again, like so. And then I need to go over this side here. And basically all I'm trying to do here is just move the move the fence out of the way so it's not smack in the middle of the road. Right, I know that little bit just needs put that back there. Right, node controller that, node controller that. Square that off. That's sorted out most of the problems. Not all of, because the roads aren't completely compatible. But what that's going to do is give me just a little bit of extra space there. I just also want to try and work out what the hell's just happened with that one. Stretched? No. Go back to custom. Yeah, I think what I need to do is just make that a normal cities. One of those. Yeah, and then the crash barriers are just sort of moving around a little bit. All I'm trying to do is get extra lane there to assist with that, because that is rather busy. So again, jump back into the traffic view and yeah, should help. They should start using both of those lanes, especially anything trying to come around this way should be in the right-hand lane. But oh, there we are, 67%. It's on an evening as well, which isn't ideal, but down here is all right. This bit's busy. This is going to loop around here. In fact, I'm going to go in and do a little bit more of what's going on here now. So that is going to go to there. What we're going to actually have over here is the town hall. I'm going to finally put the town hall in, I think. And then this. I'm deviating from the actual town a little bit here, basically because I'm going to run out of space fairly quickly if I don't. So I'm going to put some of that in, and then this bit here will have its own little infill. That helps with that. Right, over here, town hall. This being Barnsley, the town hall is very, very important. We have some flat ground. We keep it in the town hall so people can come and have a look at it, because flat and level ground it's just rare. So these unique buildings. Where is no stock exchange? Don't want the stock exchange. What I want, city hall. That's not really the one I want. I just want the town hall. Local government offices. It's weird. That actually looks quite appropriately like the town hall we've got. Barnsley's one of these cities where you look at it and you think, well, there's a lot of people in Barnsley. I'd say Barnsley's a poor city. Barnsley used to be quite a fairly hefty industrial centre. Now fallen on slightly harder times, it has to be said. I mean, the mining industries have long gone and what have you. Right, what I want now, some plazas for the front of this. plazas and parks. What do we got? It is actually quite... I mean, it's not a parking area. I mean, there is a bit of a car park there, actually, so... Let's put the car park in. Right, what I'm going to do is move that slightly. Just to be centred a little bit better. Yeah, the whole area is... It's not that Barnsley's poor, and it's not that Barnsley's rich. It's... Barnsley, very, very typical for this sort of area. We have a very grandiose sort of civic architecture feel because we have a lot of the local political establishment, shall we say. I'm not going to get too political here. Spent an absolute fortune, and rather enjoyed spending an absolute fortune on making themselves look good. So, yeah, it is what it is. Yeah, what have we got? What I need now are some 4 deep, ideally, or something like that. What's that? Sidewalk cafe. There isn't a cafe there. Yeah, let's go into this to find some plazas. Food court plaza, that style of one. I think. Let's put 4 of those in. It's not exactly right, but. What have we got? Variation 1. I do want them all to look the same. Variation 1. Yeah, that'll do. Right, that's low on power. This is obviously going to have more of other things added to it. So let's, for now, do that. Around here there's also a library and there's all sorts of other bits and pieces. Colleges and things. Right, that's that. Basically, until I get more commercial demand needed, I mean, this is all this area is here is commercial. There's little side streets. Yeah, so some people do live there. There's some side streets, but yeah. We have more housing demand, so what I'm going to do is do what I did before, is come over here. Is put a couple of small car parks dotted about. To assist with this. I'm going to put a few more pathways in, just the odd one or two. Don't need loads. Run that across there. That looks nice. And like that. And then home. Like that. As we still have more housing demand, but what I can now do is come in here and say, I'm going to put in some more of the same style. And hopefully this will eat quite a chunk of my housing demand. And just have that as another little built-up area like we've got back there. So it looks quite good. Population-wise, we are growing. We are 12,000 is the next big milestone. We're getting there slowly. Traffic is, yeah, it's busy. It's perhaps unsurprisingly caused by buses, at least in part. Caused by buses. Let's just watch this section here for a little while. I'll do it on the traffic view as well, because that way I can actually see what on earth's going on, because it's dark. What we have is trouble there with people getting off the highway. Now I suspect a lot of that is just temporary. However, what I'm going to do is turn that into lights. This is also something you'll find in the UK is extremely common. Local councils buy packs of traffic light seeds and roundabout seeds in bulk. But if this is helping people get off the highway, I'll do it. Traffic again. You see that's now starting to move. Obviously up here's backing up again because there's buses and quite a few lorries. And as you see, it's a 2-lane road, but traffic is snaking because they're picking them up as dedicated turning lanes. which to be honest, I probably don't want. I know the game struggles a little bit with the idea of a lane that can do multiple things. And sometimes the traffic AI can be a little bit retarded around things like that. However, in this case, on this particular road, I think it's necessary. So if we do that. Yeah, if I do it the same there. What this is basically going to do, it might cause a little bit of a problem. However, the bulk of the traffic is going straight on this road. I mean, like that's completely got rid of all of that now. It's just gone in its entirety, back up to 80-odd%. Yeah, so I'm going to leave the lights there. That might be a problem in future. Down here's all gone. This is because we're moving. This is now in the small hours, so it shouldn't really be a problem. Around here, fire response. How's that doing? Yeah, there's a fire engine approaching, which is going to come in here and help. It's not brilliant. We've got the main fire stations over this side. We could do with something over here. Again, it's a little bit of a game artifact, but putting in a fire station of some description, the UK style one, it'd be nice. It is quite large. Let's have a look. Possibly. You see, the area of effect it's going to have isn't massive, but or possibly over here somewhere. Up here, maybe. Decision made. It's going there. There we are. And see, that'll just help out in this area a little bit. It's not brilliant. The fire risk's always going to be here in this, so yeah, we shall see. Right. I think what I'm going to do is more or less leave it there for this episode, and then we shall. Well, what I'm going to do is I'm going to fill in a chunk of this over here on speed mode, and I will catch you all in a little while, and then we will see what we're going to do with this. So I'll be back in a few minutes. Okay, back. Now that's a little bit basic, and these corner houses aren't brilliant. I might have to. I may have to find another solution for that. I've got some. There are some larger blocks that do corners. I may have to look at that. A few things I've noted I now need. Firstly, I no longer need that, so that can go. We are running short on electricity. That's getting to the point it's a problem. Now I've now got an alternative for electricity, which I'm going to use. I'm going to put over here somewhere. Not sure where we're going to do this. If I go into here, what we've got are these substations. I mean, that's a huge one, which I don't really want. That's a slightly smaller one. Produces a little bit of electricity, and just looks like the sort of place that. Yeah, probably get rid of some of these other lines here now. But it just looks like an industrial substation. So what I'm going to do is I am going to put in a small road off here. It's going to come off there like that, and then I'm going to put a small Come back a little bit further. A small electrical substation there, like that. And that is the sort of thing that looks like it needs... Well, I say looks like it needs. It does need some other wires coming to it. Obviously, we have the smaller substation thing over there, so that ties in. And what that does, it's got fencing around it. It looks like it should connect off to something else. To be honest, it needs some sort of buildings propping around it. So let's have a little look and see what else we got. Not that. I pressed the wrong thing there completely. I think I did download some suitable huts. Oh, there's various sheds. I like sheds. Sheds are good. Loads and loads and loads of work vans. Portable office. Let's come down here and do that. What I also want. There's a couple of little van props down there as well. Fence, because we need a fence, obviously, at this point. Which is going to be the ore industry fence again, because that looks like it belongs for this sort of thing. Turn all on and then all off. That's then going to go to about there. This side is going to come out again. That's going to come down to about there and about like that. And you see that now just sort of looks like it's that sort of compound. And something else I found which I really rather like. Gate. Where are we? I've got one of these. These are one of these sort of weird sliding security gates. We'll do it that way around. Okay, that way around probably looks a little bit better. Just like that. I mean, it's not... It isn't perfect, but it looks okay. Right, and then... a light. Because what I now want is... cone light. See what that does at some point. What I now want is just a pair of street lights in here, just as like yard lights. There we go. That's it. Another little electrical substation. So yes. Okay. Fast forward until the morning, and then we shall do a little bit of an overview and see how we're going. Oh, somebody somewhere is moaning about crime. I bet that's the palm. Oh, look at that, it's the farm. I don't know what it is. There's been some update, and what I found is the police at night will not go anywhere near industrial areas. No idea why. They just don't. So these will always go, like I've got high crime overnight. And if I zoom in, you'll see pretty much all of them have got crime. I'm not entirely sure what people there are stealing, but I feel sure they're stealing something. That's fires being put out, which is quite nice. Here we are starting to get the sun coming up. I'll zoom in a bit and sort of like look around, which is, yeah, it's starting to come up. Right. Let's have a little overview and see what we've got, shall we? So here we have the... this is the original high school, which is still there. Hasn't burned down, hasn't been stolen. Criminals haven't got to it too much during the night. I think that, yes, that's the Tesco's, the Aldi and so on, Tingewick area there. This here is a reasonably newish area, I think. Over the winter, yeah, I've got no idea where that's probably an old area actually. This is another one of the little side pieces I did that's just never really been expanded. Do really need to get around to expanding that road over the river down there. More little school areas. I don't actually quite like what this looks like. It's not It's what we might call a traditional city skylines city. There are no huge high-rise blocks dotted about. I know you see we've got a few little high-density areas cropping in, but they're not massive. They don't dominate the city, which I quite like. This does have quite a UK feel to it in terms of fairly low-density housing spread out. Yeah. Anyway, and with that, I shall leave you for this episode, and we shall catch you on the next one. As usual, comments welcome. Any ideas for what you'd like to see being added into here, or removed, or names, and so on and so forth. And I'll catch you all on the next one. Thank you very much, and goodbye.